sides, speaking for the motion is, first of all, Mr. Salman Khurshid, our Minister for External Affairs, a veteran parliamentarian, a keen debater, and a very important leader for the Congress Party. Next to him is Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, who would be known very well in Calcutta. He is, again, a top leader of the CPIM, a very articulate person, a keen political commentator, and one of the top politicians of this country. And to my very next, on my left, is Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, BJP leader. He is the deputy leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, an MP of long standing, and again, a fantastically articulate debater. Speaking against the motion is a daunting team. The first speaker is Ms. Aruna Roy. She is the person, the architect behind the right to information, a piece of legislation which has really changed your and my life, and I dare say changed the polity of this country, brought in greater transparency. Next to her is Mrs. Shobha Dey, eminent writer, columnist, journalist, colleague, friend, and extremely articulate in putting a point of view, often in an uncharacteristic manner, but very, very sharp. And next to me on my right is Mr. Yogendra Yadav. Mr. Yadav is often referred to as the ideologue of AAP. I suspect it's a more collegiate functioning that they do, but still, he's one of the sharpest political minds in the Aam Aadmi Party. You might have seen him debate on television, where here I suspect you will hear him much, much better with fewer interjections from the anchor. And with that, with that, I'll start the debate. Let me tell you briefly what the format of the debate is. Each speaker gets 5 minutes to speak, followed by 2 interjections, a maximum of 2 interjections from fellow speakers, from either side to my mind. Then the next speaker, and this format continues until we end. When we end, we open it up for question and answers from the floor. If the speakers still want some pressing points to be made, we give them a chance. Thereafter, it's on to you. And then we judge the debate with a voice vote. And I must say the final call is mine. So with that, we start. I call upon the first speaker, Mr. Salman Khurshid.
Thank you, Chair. I must say that thank you. Thank you very much. This is a very great responsibility, and congratulations to the Times of India as well as to the club for getting together 3 of us, but fortunately keeping Sita in between me and my friend Ravi Shankar Prasad. So there is no danger of collusion, but I don't want this alliance to collapse, and therefore I will do my best to be polite, something that very dear friend from the other side, Shobha Dey, think I am not these days. But I must say that Times of India is doing this wonderful debate. One thing that's missing, you know, from parliamentary practice, you have taped all the mics so that they cannot be picked up and thrown at anyone. But what you haven't done is to impose a code of conduct. This morning, my distinguished colleague wrote something about what I said. I'm not supposed to repeat that word because it's a terrible word. The code of conduct should have prevented someone writing about what I can possibly say. So you should have had a code of conduct. You don't have a code of conduct in place. I'm also told that something is being said about my Oxford demeanor having slipped up a little bit. Well, I want to share something on Oxford about this, and I promise you it's true. There was in the common room, senior common room, two senior doddering professors talking to each other. And one professor said to the other one, "Listen here, Professor Phillips, I hear that in the Oxford lecture a week ago on biosociology combined with astrophysics, there were two young people who were snogging and doing sexual things in the last row. And I think that is really terrible." The other professor said, "Oh my God, is that true? I didn't know they taught sociobiology in Oxford." That's the attitude that Oxford has. I am sorry, it might have been different in your times, but that's the attitude Oxford has. We are not here to debate about proclivities of individuals and how good or bad they are. What is important really is today to actually debate on this very important issue, and this important issue is all about opposition and governance. Now, I think that it's really, really important to understand what is this new politics. This new politics is amazing. The new politics is so lasting and it's so resilient that when the new politicians from the opposition come into the governance, nobody is able to tell them that you're now in government. You're not in opposition. Now you're in government and you have to govern. So they daily wake up in the morning. They wake up in the morning and they ask, "Where are we agitating today?" And somebody has to say, "You can't agitate. You're the minister. You have to go to the office and you have to do something in the office." And he says, "No, but all my life I've dedicated myself to not let the minister do any work. Now I have a chance not to let the minister do any work, and that's what I will do." Then, of course, somebody says that, "No, we must do something. Some files have to be cleared. If no other files, at least the files that have to be cleared are files against people who've done some work when they're in governance." So they say, "You bring me a car, I will sit inside a car and I will do my files." And inside the car, the files are done. Now, I don't know when the history will be written and somebody will say that this file which changed the face of our country was actually signed in a midget little car, and that's how our country is now becoming a huge superpower. So every child growing up will say, "Mama, get me a little car. I want to go back into a little car because that's how this country is going to be made." So there will be no stories about Bhagat Singh. There'll be no stories about people hanging. There'll be no stories about sacrifices. There'll be stories about driving little cars around. And when those little cars are being driven around and there are accidents on the road, they will say, "Well, we'll have an agitation against people driving cars because an agitation is the answer." Frankly, I have heard in history revolutions generally digest their own revolutionaries that bring about the revolution. And I think using the word revolution in the presence of my friend here, I have to be careful. This alliance must survive. The revolution may have eaten up some of my friends, but the alliance must remain alive. Just as I say to Ravi Shankar Prasad, the alliance must stay alive. You can find fault with us. Obviously, as 5 minutes, is it?
So one more minute.
I will agitate. I will. I have 1 minute. I have 1 minute to save the country. I have 1 minute to save this alliance. And this is a temporary alliance. It won't even last 49 days. It will probably last 49 minutes. And after that, we will be cursing and screaming at each other. But believe you me, when we scream and curse at each other, it is only because we believe that we should be in governance. They believe they should be in governance, and you believe that you should be in governance. Now, if we are to lose this debate, for God's sake, if we lose this debate, we will lose everything there is about us because we are all in governance. If they lose this debate, there is no problem because they are in the opposition and they'll remain in the opposition. So you might decide to take a different view if there is something that changes after the general elections. But right now, please vote for us, please support us, because we are the guys who will give you governance, they are the guys who will give you agitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheen. I didn't realize the Times of India has done an incredible feat. It's brought the Congress, BJP and the CPM on the same side. Yeah. Yes, Ms. Roy.
Well, I'm very pleased with the sense of humor that's come onto this stage today. But was it sense of humor in Parliament the other day when you were throwing things at each other and Parliament became dysfunctional? And when in my generation, when we were younger, we were told that you must speak a parliamentary language. Today we'll have to redefine that or find a new phrase. So I don't think that this kind of mistreating institutions or not following certain patterns of business is entirely on the other side. I think it's there in and amongst you as well. So I think you'll have to examine that. And these are not absolute situations in any case.
I only have a problem about relatives. I don't have a problem about absolute situations. The reason why it may have happened in Parliament is that too many of our colleagues in Parliament think that you have taken over the functions of Parliament in the streets. So they thought, why don't we take over the functions of the street and bring them here? That's the reason.
You wanted to... Shobha? Mrs. Shobha Dey wants to...
No, I am really, truly enjoying this comedy hour. I wish we could take something as serious as the topic that we were presented with a little more than just Oxbridge humor, which I'm sure even those of us who have not been to Oxbridge may not appreciate as much as those who have, including the snogging in the last row and so on. Sir, you wasted a whole precious minute talking about Oxbridge humor out of your 5 minutes. That's your idea of governance. That has always been your idea of governance. You're talking about unparliamentary language. I have no problems defining the word that you used, which was napunsak, and I have no problem telling my friends here that I represent the important janta of India, which is sick and tired of 66 years of misrule.
Thank you.
Out of which... So,
Thank you. As you can see, a disagreement is not about the word. The disagreement is about who is so. That's the disagreement. Now, I have no problem. If you think that if the entire people here are what you said they are, I have no problem. I believe they are not, and I believe they are very powerful and very potent. Potent, you'll allow. They are very potent because you see, this is the trouble. The negatives are not allowed, the positives are allowed. This is how we always think about governance and about agitation.
Sir, you've also talked about Indians being bullfighters in a ring, and I'm looking for all the toros out there to completely rebut what you said yesterday. Then are we converting this country into a bullfighting ring? I mean, where are you getting these analogies from? It's fascinating. Must be Oxford.
The bell is gone on the bullfight. You can't kill the bull after the bell.
You're chickening out.
Okay. With that, sharp exchange, we move to the next speaker, Mrs. Aruna Roy, speaking against the motion.
I'm going to be serious, so you'll have to bear with me. Because for the people of this country, governance is serious business. It's not fun, it's not laughter, it's not gimmickry, it's not sensation, it's not hysteria. We want politics and governance to work for the people of this country. And I think I'd like to underline that it's very serious. I'd also like to begin by saying that people who managed much huger movements, the national movement, entered politics. Did we expect them not to govern? The British said that India could never govern itself, but we did govern ourselves. So I think it's a myth to say that. The Bolshevik Revolution, when it happened, I'm sure the Tsar said, these peasants cannot rule Russia. But they did. And if we go further back in history, I'm sure that when Cromwell beheaded Prince Charles, the royals thought a commoner couldn't rule. But I think these are myths and have been proven wrong systematically through the years. I'd also like to say that elections and political parties are not the hegemony of a few. Anyone in this country can form a political party and fight for an election. The issue is when they win the elections, what do they do? And let's also look at India's history since Gandhi. Gandhi didn't take office. He occupied that space from which many of us have risen. And that space is the area of political action which is not linked to a political party, but which is linked to political rights and wrongs enshrined in the Constitution. We have our constituencies, we have the poor, we have people who have disabilities, we have women, and we have fought and kept that politics somewhat online. And I think that role is a very valid role. The question again arises, what happens when they get into a format of governance? If you just look at the simple act of governance, it doesn't only take part in parliament, it doesn't only take part within political parties. In the last 15 years, the greatest contribution to some of the principal laws in this country has happened from outside in a manner, in a dialogue and with an engagement with political parties, but didn't necessarily arise with them. Whether it's the Right to Information Law, whether it's the Rural Employment Guarantee Act, whether it's the Forest Rights Bill, whether it's the Domestic Violence Bill, all of them rose in a political space outside, but resonated with politics. So I think to have this hegemony is completely wrong. In this whole process of movements, there have been violent, non-violent movements, there's been civil disobedience, and civil disobedience is not disallowed for people who are in power. We have known people who are in power to go on dharnas. We have got known in Rajasthan, they really blocked the road when somebody wanted to do a social audit, and my friend from the left and from the right, not the center, joined. Their political parties were on the road, preventing what was a legal issue from happening. So I think this is something which we also have to take very seriously. The strain of electoral politics that we are talking about today is an important thing, but the power of office has to be also understood. And I think what alternative politics, this is not alternative politics that we see today. We are seeing a political alternative. And this country has been fed up with corruption, with the kind of issues that have arisen, but it's equally fed up with non-delivery. Whether it's non-delivery by the people we send to power or somebody else sends to power, we are fed up with non-delivery. So this new, what you call new politics, for me is old politics. It's not new politics. It's a revival of the older systems that were there. They'll have to understand that they have to deliver to survive. But I would like to thank them for the kind of humor that they have spawned and not stopped. Because if you open the internet every day, serious questions are put to you in the most humorous fashion. And I think they brought humor back to politics, satire back to politics, lampooning back to politics, and they have a lot to learn. They have no ideology, so I don't know what right is saying from left, but nevertheless, within the political system, there we see the possibility of a new idea taking root, and the older parties, which have been hegemonized and have gone into a kind of rut, understand that they have to reinvent themselves if they have to win our confidence and our vote. So I think I would say that new politics will have to govern. Governance is difficult. It's absolutely boring business of pushing files from place to place. As an ex-IAS officer, I can tell you that it's terribly boring to govern. But boredom is part of governance, boredom is part of business, and I think any new formation will have to learn that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the battle has been truly joined.
No, I think
Mr. Khurshid wanted to...
important that a serious speech has been made. I'd imagine there was an implicit appreciation of my humor because you said we must bring humor back into politics. I tried to bring it and you were upset. But let's also read carefully in what you have said. What you've said, just fix how you function and it'll be all right. You seem more happy with us than you're happy with your colleagues. Now, I'm afraid if you want to give up this debate in order so that we can do a little bit more and fix and reach your level of aspirations and satisfaction, we are willing to do that. Anything for this debate. We will win this debate. and then we'll work on winning India's confidence.
Mr. Khurshid, it's not this debate that matters to me. What matters to me is the future of India. And that can't be settled here today.
Okay? The next person is going to be, the consultations that some parties want. You'll run into a trouble. Next time I fly Air India, I will say tell the pilot, all of us must decide how fast you can go and where you can land, because otherwise you'll take us to the wrong destination. Don't worry, we will take you to the destination that belongs to India. Thank you.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Hello. Arunajji, we have the highest regard for you, what you have done in the RTI movement. But when we are talking about new politics, we are not talking about your politics, which is singularly appreciable, changed a lot of laws, we have participated. But we are talking some of your friends who began with you, became ambitious, sought to acquire power, and could not handle it. That is the issue. How do you react to that as far as governance is concerned?
मैं आपको हिंदी में बात करूंगी कि हम जब सूचना के अधिकार की लड़ाई लड़ रहे थे, then Bhairo Singh Shekhawat was Chief Minister of Rajasthan. Prabhas Joshi, I don't know how many of you remember nowadays, there's such short memories, was a very great Hindi journalist. He went in to lobby for us to the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. And he said, भैया मेरा एक शिकायत है आपके बाहर जो दोस्त बैठे हैं, उनकी राजनीतिक महत्वाकांक्षाएं हैं. तो प्रभाष जोशी ने उनको कहा, आपके मुंह से ऐसे बात कैसे निकली, क्योंकि आप खुद उसी गद्दी पे बैठे हैं. अब वो और कुछ करते हैं तो मैं सुन लेता, मगर political ambition is part of your life. Why should you object to their having political ambition? It's not the prerogative of one group to have
Surely
political
not.
ambition.
I'm only saying, my question was very different, Arunaji. My question was that this is the new politics, not your politics. That when we are discussing the new politics, qua governance, that was my question.
May I just add there for a minute? Huh?
You're the next speaker.
No. I'm the next speaker. Okay. No, I just wonder, but what happened to that political ambition in you, Aruna? Where did you lose it on the way?
I am political. What makes you think I'm not political?
No, I've been
I'm not in a
impleading
political
you.
party.
No, I'm not saying you're not political. I'm talking about that ambition to govern.
Okay.
I think I'm ambitious in my own way for my own constituencies. Yes.
We take the
Communist party ticket.
we take the debate forward with the next speaker for speaking for the motion, Mr. Sitaram Yechuri.
Thank you, Arindam. And I must say, the tone that was set by my colleague Salman has really brought in a certain tenor to this debate, which I did not actually anticipate, because I thought it is going to be serious, and which is what like Aruna did, and I have the highest of regard for all three of them as individuals and also what they represent. Because let us, for a brief moment, I'll come back to the humor a little later, but for the brief moment, let us look at it in a serious fashion. What has been said by Aruna in the sense of saying that this is not any new politics, but this is old politics of issues being raised publicly in protest and they coming up. The question that was addressed by my colleague, and which is the topic today, is whether they are capable of governing. I'll come back to that. But the old politics and the new politics, I think there's really not correct to make that sort of a distinction. What is happening today, and I think the movement which Aruna led for the right to information, which Anna Hazare led for the right to on the issue of corruption in Lokpal, which the AAP today in a sense represent certain movements, these are all reflections of a certain churning that is taking place in India today. And this churning is something very, very positive. And I believe that all this churning is part of a movement that should lead to improving of governance. There's no politics in our country which I believe is actually politics unless it is anarchic politics to be straightforwardly put. But no politics which can not merely function within the political structure of our constitution, but which will improve it further. So in order to improve it, how do we improve governance? Removing corruption is element of that. Right to information is element of that. So all these are elements of improving governance. But when the responsibility comes in, do you rise to the occasion? If you do not, then it's the same people that are going to discard you. And I think let's understand that in the perspective. It is not as to castigate one as saying that you cannot govern, you only fight on the streets, and the other saying you only govern, you don't take up the people's issues. I think that will be a very unreal representation of the situation. So if this churning is what is going on, the point at issue is that many of us, all of us, have also been steeled in through the movements, and I think every one of us, whether we agree or disagree with the movements, but all of us have emerged out of the movements. But when you are in a position to govern, you may govern rightly, you may govern wrongly, but you still attempt to govern. Now, is that attempt forsaken? That is the issue with that experience that we've had with the 49-day government, with the AAP in Delhi. Now, there are many questions. I mean, many of them we have been working together on many issues. We'll continue to work together, I presume, with Yogendra Yadav and his colleagues, etc., on many of these issues involved. But the question is not that. What is the capacity of people who want to change this country into a better country? And if you improve the political structure or you undermine the political structure. If you undermine the political structure, start mobilizing or giving slogans saying it's not the parliament that will make laws, but the people that will make the laws on the ground. No, that is something that is not acceptable. That is not governance, that is not politics. That is straightforward anarchy, I would say, which undermines our political structure. So the question is of that strengthening this political structure. For instance, let us get back to a little serious note on this. For instance, in our country, can you just look back and think, in these 60-odd years of your governments, there's been only one instance where the central government had more than 50% of the vote that was polled. Just once. When Indira Gandhi was called Durga Ma by Vajpayee, and that was the only time. Is that democracy? Where there are more people who vote against the government than more to those who vote for her. Are you governing then? Whom are you governing and how are you governing then? So you require to think in these terms. If you do not, then these sort of movements will come on which there will be no control, where you'll be proud to call yourself an anarchist. So when you're proud to call yourself an anarchist, it's not political churning for the better. Now that is where, unless you think in terms of a proportional representation, unless you think in terms of a serious refinement of your political structure, I do not think we can improve the level of governance in our country. Yes, individuals matter, individual ways of governing matter, corruption matters, all these things have to be rid. On that there is no doubt. But the question is, I see all of us as partners of that process. There will be some who will be listening, some who will not be. Those who will not be listening will have to be compelled by the people. So the question is, I think, let's get back, because I'm sure, just half a minute of translation, I'm sure when Salman and I share a lot of commonness with St. Stephen's, though I've been a fully Desi product, so I can't talk of Oxbridge or anything. But in Stephen's, and with that sense of humor, we can go back. Yes, we will. But the question is, if you're talking seriously of this issue, of new politics, governance and the movement, I think we'll have to bring back the focus. And the question is, are we moving towards a better India, or are we sliding towards anarchy? And that is where, if new politics means non-governance and sliding towards anarchy, it is something that is very dangerous, that has to be stopped. Thank you.
Thanks, Sita. It's kind of reality check that Sita brought it. Yes, Ms. Roy.
I have a comment to make. I also don't like disarray and a lack of logic. But let's just say, since they have been students together, but I'm a student of literature. And I feel that the burlesque often tells you the truth. So what you see happening in terms of that anarchy, in a visual sense, is only telling you how much anarchy there really exists. Because if there wasn't that anarchy, how would we find space for this anarchy in public life? If you call it anarchy. If there is real governance, we wouldn't have found this kind of governance emerging. So actually it's a critique of them. If you call this new politics, it's a critique of the existing politics. If you call this a burlesque, then it is criticizing or mimicking or laughing at the main plot. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I will. Because I would think that in...
Add to that, Sita.
Okay, we'll combine the two questions this time. Yeah.
It's very much in continuation of what Arunadi has said. I'm actually, honestly, absolutely astonished to hear this coming from you, Sitaram Yechuri. I mean, can you name, do you share the concern, the anxiety of what you used to call the ruling class, the ruling establishment, about agitations, movements, protests? In which case, what is your own assessment of the left front's first government in Bengal and the second experiment of the left front? Can you name one experiment in human history of tremendous transformation and change which did not look like chaos to the people at that time, especially to those who were ruling?
Of course not. No, well, you were, as you said, you are surprised that I said that. I'm not surprised that you said that. Because it's a classic case of actually misunderstanding, and which you are completely capable of. I'm not denying you that quality. But what I actually said was, and I continue to say and maintain, movements are not anarchy. Movements are not anarchy. Movements can degenerate to anarchy. The question is, the leadership of the movement has to then exercise that right to ensure that it doesn't move towards anarchy, but actually it gives a positive result, and which is what I defined as churning. What you have raised, what Aruna has raised, what others have raised, of which we have all been, when we have all participated in street battles. We participated in street battles on the issue of pension. Today we are doing it on the issue of pension, old age pension. So that is not the issue. The issue is when these movements lead up to a government, then I can tell you the experience of the first left front and the second left front that you referred to, that these were the governments that implemented what we were agitating on the ground. And that is what makes the difference. We implemented. Later, the people of Bengal thought differently, subsequently. But in the first two terms, definitely what was implemented was what was being fought on the ground. That is not anarchy.
Okay.
That is not movement.
They wanted to put
just
a question.
quick intervention.
A quick question.
Is that I've got the Oxford Dictionary definition of anarchy, which might interest you. It says, a state of society without government or law, a political and social disorder due to the absence of government control, which is what we are living through. So what are we discussing? And that when we're talking about a future anarchy, we are actually living it right now.
Come on, Shubha.
You have forgotten your own passionate past.
Of course,
You've forgotten what you were as a student leader. You were all talking like you belonged to the same team, but you wear different jerseys. That's all.
No, I still think we are part of the same team, even now. So don't mistake me. Yeah, and it's not a passionate past, it's a passionate present also. So it is not only a question of past. The point in the issue is, why is anarchy cause is a different matter altogether. I'm not going into that at all.
Even Gandhiji endorsed anarchy when all other systems failed. Gandhiji endorsed anarchy
but
at the point when all other systems failed.
Very grimly.
I'm sorry?
We have overshot our interjection time. So we move on to the next speaker, which happens to be you,
Why don't we have
Mrs.
A conversation is much better. I'm sure. What do you say? You agree?
I was also, I'm enjoying it, all of it. Mr. Khurshid has to go tonight.
No, don't worry. For the sake of saving the country,
There we are. Carry on.
He is a team leader. You can't
I wish we believed the country was in safe hands when you make that declaration here. Then we would have definitely insisted on your staying tonight.
No. If you have a problem, I can go. There's no problem. I don't see any anarchy here, by the way. But you can, with a little effort, make this place anarchic as well. But then Tollygunge will be a disaster, no? Wouldn't it? Please.
So should we move on to the next speaker?
Of course.
Mrs. Shobha,
Yeah.
speaking against the motion.
Well, speaking in Kolkata, how can you not refer to Mother Teresa? And since I know, as my colleagues there may not be aware, particularly one of them, that this is not Karan Johar's Coffee with Karan. It's not even a chai pe charcha. It's not even a cappuccino pe charcha. It's a cappuccino ke beyond ke charcha maybe. And there's no goodie bag at the end of this that we are going to be wrestling for as to who won the debate. And so let's get away from those kind of childish competitions. And let's focus on the topic. What is new politics to begin with? How does one even define new politics? And how do we contrast it to what we are talking about as old politics? At the end of the day, what does every citizen of this country want? They want good politics. Good politics. You can call it new, you can call it old, you can call it stale, you can call it old-fashioned. They want good politics. And by good politics, what do the young of this country want? They want people not offering apologies. I mean, look at what happened just in the recent past. There's Rajnath who apologizes to the Muslims, then someone else says, no, he actually didn't apologize to the Muslims. Then there's Rahul who refuses to apologize to the Sikhs. Then there is Kejriwal who expects everybody to apologize to him. And then, of course, there is Modi who thinks the world owes him an apology. In all of this, the youth are really not concerned. 70 million unemployed young people. They are restless, they are impatient, they are ambitious, they are global citizens, they want jobs. I haven't heard the J word uttered by the two gentlemen here this evening. Jobs. They want jobs. They don't want jokes. So the question is, new politics, if it speaks a new language, and that new language which will appeal to the 30 and younger people of India who will be the game changers during the next election, those and the female vote. I haven't heard the female narrative in any political agenda so far, which really surprises me, considering it was the female vote that actually, in many ways, propelled Mr. Kejriwal in Delhi. That has been spectacularly ignored. And I don't speak on behalf of his party or any party for that matter. I'm very fortunate. We are still a democracy. I'm still an independent voice. I can still speak my mind. I can still come here to Kolkata and say what I need to say without any fear that it will either be misrepresented, misunderstood, or am I going to be shivering that there's going to be a vindictive next government coming into power, which may well happen. But we'll deal with it when that time comes. In the meanwhile, we've got all kinds of megalomaniacs. There's dynasty to deal with. There are people who are boasting about their chest size. I mean, I'm asking this audience, an educated, informed, very alive audience, to have a future prime ministerial candidate boast about his 56-inch chest. How would it be if, say, a female candidate talked about her D-cup brow? Would that be accepted in exactly the same spirit? So this kind of chest thumping, this is what we have reduced political debate to. This is political chest thumping at its most childish and its most ridiculous. So we are talking about governance. These are all cliches. The young don't want to know. They don't want people to give them bhashans about governance and we need governance. It's a given. Of course you need governance. Why would you imagine that new politics rules out good governance? There is a change. The change is evident. It's palpable. Everybody can feel it. Kejriwal was merely a catalyst. I'm not even saying he'll make a great prime minister. We know he didn't even make a good chief minister for those 49 days. That's besides the point. He has driven something into our hearts and heads, which is telling us there is hope for the future. If we do not support the Kejriwals in our midst, whether we agree with their politics or not, if we don't vote for change, we are going to be stuck with the same old people for 66 years who have ruined the country. Today we have a Sahara 2.5 crore poor people whose salaries have disappeared down the tube. Not a single political party is talking about them. Why? Why are they all mum? Why are they all mum? Because they're basically all on the same side. There's no difference when it comes to scandals, when it comes to scams, when it comes to our defense, the way we have seen in the last few days. 30-year-old subs, young people dying because of corruption with the bureaucracy, with the political establishment. Yet they're all mum. They all stand together. It's a conspiracy of silence. if we don't take the opportunity for change now, we are doomed for the next 50 years. So new politics is the future, and we have to vote for it if India is to survive.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a spirited speech. Yes, Sita.
Well, I must say, I mean, Shobha's impassionate plea, but then don't say no political party. That's not fair. I don't know, we've been talking about it.
You know. Did we hear a squeak somewhere from your party? I don't know. I wasn't listening that hard.
No. I'm telling you, whether it is Sahara, whether it is Sharada in Bengal, whether it's any one of these camps, I mean, you've seen us shouting from the top. But the question is, you may say, what happened? What have you done? What exactly is happening about it? That's a different matter. But it's not correct to say that the political parties are not concerned with it. Like there are people and people, there are political parties and there are political parties. And like Aruna was given this thing, I mean, an analogy from literature. I'd only say, remember Shelley's Mask of Anarchy? Arise like lions out of slumber in an invanquishable number. Cast to earth the chains that in sleep have fallen on you like dew. You are many, they are few. That's not a call for anarchy. That's a call for revolt. That's why it's the mask of anarchy. That's a call for revolt. And revolt is absolutely legitimate politics. And those who succeed in the revolt will succeed in governing. I mean, that has been shown. That is the point that we are debating now. It's not the question of whether movements are right or wrong. Of course they are right. Without that, there's no politics, there's no society. The question is whether they will graduate to the position of govern. And that is what Shobha also is saying. All these issues are right, but will that translate to a good governance?
Mrs. Roy, you wanted to make a point?
Let me say that we have some catchwords now in politics. And if anyone has seen the parody of Arnab, which is circulating.
No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry intervening. Sorry interrupting.
One moment.
I thought he would be here saying the nation wants to know.
No. In that,
I see everybody's
it's
missing.
Very clear that these catchwords are really not telling us anything. One person says they want development. So the speaker says development of development. What is development? Unpack it for us. Tell us what it means. What it means in great detail. I want to know what it means for fiscal policy, what it means for women, what it means for children, what it means for Dalits, what it means for scheduled tribes, what it means for the Northeast, what it means for areas in which there's tension. I want all of that. Someone says inclusive governance. Inclusive governance. Our bill has not been passed in Parliament, which was for keeping millions of Indians free of tension because they could have got their medicines, and the grievance redress bill went without being passed in Parliament. So I want to know what is inclusive governance. Why are our politicians not interested in inclusive governance? And what is inclusive governance? Please spell it out. In the first NEC, when I was a member, we had something called the National Common Minimum Program, which told us what government thought of inclusion. Now we don't know. And my own side of the fence, change. What change? Change by itself is not good unless we know what we're changing from to what. That is an answer that we must give. If we don't give that answer to ourselves, today we have someone speaking pro absolutely saffron. We have someone saying there's something totally different. We have someone saying anti-women, taking anti-women positions. Someone saying no, women are very sacred. Then that whole business of Khap Panchayat, which Yogendra, has made so many ripples. How can you say Khap Panchayats are cultural? So I think what we need to do is really, if we take it seriously, unpack these issues. Because if we don't unpack what politics means, I don't think we can make informed choices. Like Chomsky said, we need to make informed choices.
Aruna, absolutely right and completely, there's no disagreement, you know that.
See,
but
no one's
why?
clapping.
No, hang on. But
No one's
why
clapping for
did
me.
your first term as the National Advisory Council have what is called a National Common Minimum Program? Who was responsible behind it? A political party or no?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the point I'm saying is that if you're saying that was a guide, that's why I said like people and people, they're parties and parties, but the point at issue is whether you can lead movements that will lead to anarchy or whether they lead to also governance and delivery, more important. And that is the issue.
No, but the issue is that everybody has to measure themselves by the same yardstick.
We'll follow up.
May I just say something? I'm sorry, I have to say that Aruna Roy is sounding like she's on our side. And if she is, then she should shift to our side. We're very happy to have you. Be a reformer with us. We would owe it to you that we reform ourselves. As far as jobs are concerned, I think jobs are very important. But you've got to make up your mind whether there should be foreign direct investment or not, how jobs are going to be created. You have to be very clear about that. What my friend Shobha Dey says is that we never mention jobs. Well, actually, this was not a budget speech. We just came here to debate about styles of governance and agitation. And I don't think every column of hers mentions everything. I don't think every column of hers mentions women. We do, if you wanted a budget speech, I would have borrowed Mr. Chidambaram's speech and read it out here again. But I think what we need is, we need to address an issue. You've talked about reform, and I think it's important. You may trust us, you may not trust us. That's a different question. But reform in this country, reform of all kinds is necessary. And lastly, I just want to say, let's talk about jobs, let's talk about inclusion, let's talk about dignity and growth. But one thing in this country we should not forget, which is fundamental, and that is the safety of an individual. Nobody mentioned the safety of an individual just now in this debate. What mass slaughters have done. We may have done it.
I'm afraid
they may have done it. Anybody may have done it.
It can't
but
be
please,
a comprehensive
let's talk
debate
about safety.
Covering
safety.
everything, from jobs to individual
Everything.
safety.
So we can't have a,
it
we
is
can't have a
defined by
comprehensive. That's all.
It's defined by the topic.
And I think we may have been able to find a solution if Aruna was here. I generally think it's important to say the nation wants to know, where is Aruna?
If I had the answer, I would give it to you. I think he's in Bombay. I think he's in Bombay. I'm not 100% certain. Well, moving on with the debate, the final speaker speaking for the motion, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad.
Mr. Moderator, we are really moving from the topic, enlarging it. I don't know whether it was by accident or design that you put all the conventional politicians on the one side and the new politicians on the other, if I can call them. But Salman, by the way, this new politics has emerged directly in answer to the manner in which you have governed India for the last 10 years, along with Sitaram Yechuri for 5 years. The problem of unemployment has arisen because of a scam after a scam, the loot of the country. That is the reason for problem. A sense of great hopelessness has come about. Don't disown that. I would like to say that. I have no experience of Oxford or St. Stephen's. Okay? I schooled into the JP movement in Bihar as a student activist. And therefore, Yogendra, I really enjoyed with great excitement when you all came on the horizon. I differ with you politically. Democracy is about choice. But I could never know in 49 days you would lose your patience. Madam Shobha Dey, you do not need an Oxford dictionary to understand anarchy when a chief minister of state of Delhi is sitting on dharna on the footpath, sleeping for the whole night to protest suspension of 2 policemen who had sought to control his errand minister. When he is told that 26 January is coming, why you are sitting on the dharna of anarchy, he says, I am an anarchist. You don't need to refer to Oxford Dictionary. The point I am trying to highlight is, they came with a whiff of fresh air. But in 49 days, it appeared to be a very spurious case of marketing, where they came with instant cure, with magical therapy of the problems of India. You talked about politicians in the conventional sense. We're very proud that India is a democracy. People are the master. They elect, they reject. Sita thought they have a monopoly of Bengal for 30 years plus. You dislodged them. You suffered. Here itself. Have patience. Have patience.
We were
Have
surprised.
patience. You'll interrupt me after.
No. We were surprised they let us rule for 34 years.
Please control
Please
him.
understand.
He will have his turn after I finish.
There is a civil war going on.
The point
Hold
is,
a minute.
there have been good chief ministers who are giving growth, employment, investment, child care, women care, and are getting elected and re-elected. That's the beauty of democracy. You talked about a chief minister, you have a problem with his chest. That's no problem, I respect that. But he is the most popular PM candidate among large number of youth of the country. That is also a fact. Governance is a serious business. You come to power, you say you are opposed to the stinking corruption of Salman's party, but you form a government upon their shoulders. You go to Mohalla Sabhas and SMS poll, but when you leave chair, you don't go to the Mohalla Sabhas to take their permission, should we leave the chair or not? Because you could not govern. The problem is this. You promised free power, free water, did not make any provision in the budget. When it came to our parliament, we are amazed to see no provision in the budget was met. Democracy means a serious business. And yes, protest is integral to democracy. Difference is integral to democracy. People will come, people will go. But my problem with my new politician is they could not graduate from being an agitator to becoming an administrator, an accountable administrator. That is the problem. And let me tell you, good governance is the most important feature of politics in a democracy, which is accountable. And I regret to say, for that to demonstrate, Yogendra, you'll have to remain in power. You have to perform, you have to deliver, and leave to the people to make a judgment about that. That judgment cannot be made here, but I must tell you, there is a difference between you and Arunaji and Yogendra Yadav. I will again repeat, and Shobha Dey will remain a neutral voice, even if we come to power, and we welcome an independent voice. The point is, you have become a great movement, NGO movement, which we respect. The problem with your colleagues are, begin an NGO, seek to acquire power, but can't hold on to power. That is the problem. That we'll have to understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi Shankar ji. Aruna ji. It's always
Actually, I didn't want to raise these issues, but for me, some of the worst days of anarchy, well, partition when I was very, very young, but when I grew older, all the communal riots, and perpetuated by the state, ignored by the state, then that was the worst anarchy, when people died of it. This is also anarchy, perhaps. But in this, death has not ensued. There is craziness, there's madness. But where death has occurred, and where the state has either kept silent or has been on the side of those participated in those deaths, we don't ask questions. So in all fairness, I'm not saying that I'm on anyone's side, but as an Indian citizen, I would like the same questions asked of everybody. You can't just ask one set of questions to the persons who are new, young and aspiring and not ask them of yourselves. So I think anarchy can mean many things in the dictionary. And I really think a new India cannot afford any anarchy. It can only hold anarchy within words, but it can't hold anarchy within governance. Because the people who pay for that kind of anarchy are the very poor, the people without privilege, and the people who are right at the bottom of the fence. And I really think that's something we must keep in mind.
I'm very happy you asked that question. I know you are referring about Gujarat riots. All are most welcome. In the same democracy, for 12 years, questions were asked. Reams of papers were written. So many PILs were filed. 9 cases examined by the SIT, including his role. He was exonerated. Other people have been convicted. Therefore, it is not a case, it has not been raised. The point is, it is a part of democracy. We can differ. But again, I repeat, a chief minister cannot sit on dharna for the whole night demanding suspension of 2 policemen, and it will not be a case of anarchy.
May I just say about the chief minister on the pavement was perhaps, symbolically speaking, as a symbol, one of the most powerful symbols for young India to be inspired by, that a chief minister had no problems sleeping on the pavement like millions of Indians do. Absolutely.
Shobha, I agree.
It was symbolically
Then sleep for the whole day. Don't make a symbolism. If the CM is so particular,
What's
no
wrong
problem.
with symbolism? Symbolism is a very inspiring for
right.
a lot of young people. Symbols can move and generate thousands and millions of people to change their lives. And I think he demonstrated that ably, and we should admire him for doing it, rather than to see Sheila Dikshit, who refused to meet Nirbhaya or parents or her.
There I agree with you.
Yes,
There
and
I agree
refused to, and there was the arrogance, which of them who said, we do not go to the people.
But you are-
The people must come to us. That was the arrogance of that government which said that.
Therefore,
that is something we should be ashamed
I
of.
totally agree. Therefore, Sheila Dikshit lost by 25,000 votes. And a serving Congress party of Salman Khurshid in Delhi got only 8 seats. That's also people responded.
I don't think that you should break our alliance. It's the short days alliance.
It's my one shot at it. If I'm going to give it my best shot.
I would like to hear from Shobha Dey what she has to say about what Aruna Roy has said about accountability and answering what happened wherever it happened. As she said, what does she say? What is the word that we can use to explain and to castigate what happened? There are some words you don't like. Give us a nice, good word that will describe somebody with 56 inches going around saying, off with their heads and off with their heads. What would you use the word?
Sir, I leave that to you. You're the expert with words and I'm not the politician. Remember, I'm the only person on this panel who isn't. I don't have to woo the crowd with words and language like perhaps you're compelled to do. I can only speak with sincerity and I can speak the truth on behalf of every single person here and on behalf of citizens.
Speechless.
He's conceded.
He's not saying it. He's saying she's speechless, be courteous, be kind, be gentle. Let's now move on to something else. That's what they say. Thank you. And I'm very gracious, I would.
We'll move on now. We'll move on now to a question that Mr. Yogendra Yadav wants to ask.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, what would you think of the father of the nation who went on one of the most extraordinary walks to remove salt law, which was one of the most inconsequential laws of the British Empire? Was he as silly as Arvind Kejriwal was?
Not the least.
2, sir, what does it mean to graduate to administer? Have a lal batti, close yourself in a room, stop meeting people, and try to do exactly what you had criticized the opposition for doing?
When Mahatma Gandhi went in the Dandi March to make salt, he was defying the might of British Empire.
Sir, Arvind Kejriwal was defying the constitutional absurdity of an elected government which is not able to have any control on law and order.
Now, will you allow me to reply to at least, or you have some more questions? Mahatma Gandhi was defying the might of the British Empire by a symbolism. Here was a case, I again repeat, Jawaharlal Nehru never sat on dharna. No other chief minister is sitting on dharna. If you have a problem, there are quite legitimate means given to you when you are in power to express your dissatisfaction. Why not? That's what I'm saying. Because then if that was the case, you ought to have remained in power upon the crutches of great Salman's party, the Congress party, who were opposing day in and day out. That's what, because you promised to change the face of Delhi, therefore you came with them, you ought to have remained with them. That's the point I'm trying to say.
Sir, you are factually misinformed about chief ministers not sitting on dharna.
All right.
We will move on. We'll move on to the last speaker of this debate. Mrs. Roy, you wanted to ask a question?
No, I'm just making a comment that what the new formation, whatever you call it, has done for us has really increased public space. And I think in West Bengal, perhaps you all feel the lack of public protest, the public movements, people coming on the streets without political affiliation. Now, many people want that independent space, and I think what it has struck a chord in the many minds of many people of having that independent space for protest, and I think that symbolism is got to be turned into a reality even by the mainstream parties if they have to come, and that's one obvious thing is that you have to come out to meet people. You can't stay boxed in your room.
Just one observation, half a minute. Yogen, just this space, first of all, let me salute you Calcuttans. This is my 5th exposure in a public debate in Calcutta. Salman and both have great experience. I don't think going anywhere in the country, we will have this much of massive crowd come to hear debates. Hats off to you. That's a great space.
Okay, now we move to the last speaker, speaking against the motion, Dr. Yogendra Yadav.
Friends, I'm delighted and honored to be here in a city that has discussed future directions, new directions, not just today, but for the last 2 centuries. I'm delighted that a very small new political force that I represent has triggered, has occasioned such a serious debate about something as large as new politics. I'm honored that I share the stage with such a distinguished audience. It's not a coincidence that those who speak for new politics and new ideas include 2 women. That, to me, is a statement in this country. I also note that those on the other side include 2 persons who came from movement which once upon a time must have looked like new politics. They may have forgotten about it. I agree with my friend Ravi Shankar Prasad ji when he said that we have deviated from the topic, except that he went on to do exactly that. At one stage, I really wanted to say, my friends on this side, it's not parliament, let's get serious. But such is the debate in this country.
But you are going
While
to
I'm delighted that Aam Aadmi Party got the attention that it deserved, I must not forget that the topic of debate was not about Aam Aadmi Party. It is about new politics. I do believe that Aam Aadmi Party is a principal carrier of that new politics in India today. But it would be ridiculous to say that we have a monopoly over new politics. For me, Aruna Roy, though we have not been able to persuade her to come with us, which is a deep regret, but she represents as much new politics in this country as Arvind Kejriwal does. While I do hope that this new experiment of ours carries the spirit of new politics, I would not hesitate to say that we do not yet represent a model. I would not claim that. We are imperfect, we are limited. We are limited by circumstances. We are limited by our own human failings. And yes, by our errors. This is a large experiment. It is one of those few experiments that this country has seen in a very, very long time. And maybe people like me are not worthy of being carriers of that experiment. This is the thought that troubles me every day. Yes, so we are imperfect embodiment of this new politics. I have no hesitation in saying that. What is this new politics of which my party is a small, tiny, imperfect embodiment? I think this new politics carries 3 currents of 21st century democracy. 1, it is about monitoring democracy, which is to say, people are sick and tired of being represented. They want to be present. They want to do things themselves. They want to control, monitor, govern what governance does for them. 2, this is about deliberative democracy. People are sick and tired of ideological certitudes. They want open debates. They want problem solving in an open frame. And 3, this is about participatory democracy. The spirit of volunteerism. You know, we use the word volunteer, we forget what it meant. The spirit of volunteerism, which has been subdued by professional politics, is to be revived. This new politics is what has given this country hope. This is what has given this country courage. If this is what new politics is, I hope you can see that this cannot be about opposition alone. This is about redefining the paradigm of governance itself. In which ways it has redefined the paradigm? For the first time, people are being consulted in the formation of laws, which worries my friends enormously. I can see why they are worried. But my friends, this is the direction that 21st century will take and move forward. This is about foregrounding of everyday concerns. Maybe we were completely wrong on electricity and water, but for once Delhi actually debated electricity and water. That is what is happening. This is happening under public gaze and scrutiny. Did we overdo it? Maybe. Did we make errors? We must have made errors. Which is that experiment in human history that does not make error? Yes, we have to learn. But in this anxiety, in our trouble and unease with some style and form, let us not forget the substance. In our anxiety to snub a small political rival, let us not extinguish the hope that this country has had after a very, very long time. Thank you.
May I say something?
I didn't want to disturb the applause.
No, please.
Sure. Obviously, Dr. Yadav has struck a chord.
I've been to Kolkata. I've been to Kolkata before, and I've had similar distinguished gatherings. And they did the same last time when Mamata Banerjee had to be elected. They did the same when, before that, the left had to be elected, because that's their right. That's their right to usher in and to applaud somebody who's coming with a new idea.
Are you suggesting they're going to be elected this time?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But if they're going to elect them, maybe it'll be 50 days, it'll be 55 days, it'll be 60 days. So if you want an election every 60 days, you're fine. That's all you'll get. But wait a minute. You did the same for other political parties as well. I acknowledge that you have a right. They have a right. It's good that they select somebody. But the only thing is, just contrast what Yogendra Yadav says in his beautiful, mellifluous voice and what his leader says. मैं सबको जेल भेज दूंगा, मैं सबको जेल भेज दूंगा, मैं सबको जेल भेज दूंगा. There is something about civil liberty. Now we may have forgotten there is something called civil liberty in this country, but the Constitution has something called civil liberty. And we will fight to the finish for civil liberty, no matter how sweet the killer is. We will fight till the finish for civil liberty. And then when we fall, all these people will turn up to say, we made a mistake. No problem. Today, they are the new faces, but let them show that they're not just new faces, they're new hearts as well. Not enough to give words. Democracy. You got to listen to it.
Yes.
I just wanted to add something to what Yogendra said by saying that he and I come from a background where us is not only in a political party. I think many of us who have not become members of that political party still feel that that public space is critical. Because in that public space, we can critique any political party, including what may represent most of our interests. Because there is a problem with all political formations, no matter how good they may be. There are elections, there are votes to garner, there are things you can say and things you can't say within the format of a political party. We are free agents, so we can say what we like. But in that political system, you have to have structures. You can't deliver the promises unless you have structures. And the structures should be spelt out. There must be some ideology must be spelt out, and these are all cautions. And unless that structure is spelt out, and I don't think we are in a post-ideological era when we can just have issue-based politics. So to critique my own friends who have gone into politics and to critique other friends who are also friends, there is a space in the public domain, and that's very important to India. You may not realize it, but that's what Gandhiji left for us. And that space, if that space has an alliance with political parties, then governance will be no problem. Because each one of these movements which has specialization can help infinitely with kinds of structures that have been looked at, details that have been looked at, governance that's been looked at. It's up to the new political formation and the older political formations to tap the immense amount of work that's happened in my kind of politics.
Sure.
Please.
May I?
Yeah.
And he will reply together. Mr. Yogen Yadav, you have got every right to have your party, develop it, win the support of the people. That's what democracy is about. And you are welcome, as I said in my initial comment. But I have only one question to ask. You seek to engage with Indians and you want Indians to engage with you. That's how you have gone all over the country. My very straight question is, some of your best colleagues and patrons who began with you, and I will name them, Anna Hazare and Kiran Bedi, could not continue with you. If that is the case, how will you give a guarantee they will continue to engage with all the Indians?
I must thank the Congress and the BJP for conceding me the space to carry democratic politics in this country. Coming from them, it's very assuring because very often you need this assurance. About what Arunadi said, I think she's right. We would be a poorer country if we did not have Aruna Roy and Shobha De to critique publicly what Aam Aadmi Party does. We need your critique. We have learned from it. We would continue to learn from it. We do not have those certitudes. We do not have answer to all these things. We want to learn. And yes, we want to engage with Indians because, sir, we also happen to be Indians. We have not come from France to engage with Indians here. We happen to be from this country. We would like to engage. In that process, yes, we failed to convince. You are absolutely right. We failed to convince Kiran Bedi ji. She said, and she said in public, so I have no hesitation in quoting it. She said, दोनों चोर हैं, लेकिन एक बड़े चोर को मारने के लिए छोटे चोर का हाथ लेना पड़ता है. This was her public conviction. So she actually said she was referring to Congress and BJP. Now, we obviously cannot agree with her. Yes, we failed to convince her, and she failed to convince us. This is what happens in politics.
Anna Hazare?
You engage, you deal with it. Anna Hazare, we could not convince him that the political path that we had taken was the right kind of path. He gave us a lot of suggestions, warnings, and I always think that these warnings, even when they come in very sharp words, these are things you need to learn from. I have personally benefited enormously from all the warnings that Anna Hazare gave us, and all the new system of election and transparency that we instituted was inspired by criticism. Why should we look at critics as enemies? They are teaching us something, as indeed all three of you have taught me.
Mr. Yeshuri?
Yeah, I think one point has to be done, what like Mr. Yogendra Yadav has done. I don't think new politics means the AAP. I mean, don't appropriate that entire definition of new. It's what you say.
So that's exactly what I said, sir.
I'm sorry?
That's exactly what I said.
That to start with.
No, that's why. You see, what I want to say is a little further than that. The point which Aruna was making, there are certain issues on which political positions have to be taken. The political structures in democracy cannot be deepened only by an issue-based movements. But on those issues which are of importance for the country's future and democracy, etc., it's important where you stand. Because I think, as far as I am concerned, I would see you all three, as I said earlier, all three as allies in building a better India. Three as allies in beating it. But when you have these sort of economic hardships being imposed on the people, what are the reasons? What are the alternatives? Is elimination of corruption alone the answer? What is feeding this corruption? What is feeding this crony capitalism? Is it not these sort of economic reforms? If you are silent on those issues, then where do the structures arise to govern properly? the entire issue of the liberty, civil liberty that Aruna Roy was talking about, of individuals, including women that Shobha Dey was talking about. The issue of, in a multilingual, multi-diverse country like India that no world doesn't know of anywhere else. How do you...
Even in the DDA office, this whole horde of people turned up wearing the Aam Aadmi Party topis and the things and saying, we are all the Chief Minister, we are all Mr. Kejriwal, hamara kaam pehle hona chahiye, nahi to hum ye karenge, hum agitate karenge, hum falana. Not a single clerk, not a single bureaucrat, not a single babu picked up a pen to do any work out of sheer fright that what is going to happen now. When they asked for a little police help, the police said, no Baba, we are dealing with one agitation, we don't want to deal with another one. So where is the rule of law going to take us if this is what is going to happen in a new brand of politics whereby there is no definition of who is in authority and who is not? Okay. I mean, after all, our country is a multilingual country.
You made your point.
Too many people.
You made your point. Yeah.
Sir, I would not be able to verify this incident, but I'm sure you've seen it and you're reporting it. Whenever a big transformation takes place, it happens through individuals who wish to stretch the boundaries of settled practices. Many of them overshoot, they have to be brought back. What Delhi experienced in those 49 days, and these were only 49 days, for heaven's sake, we are not reviewing 5 years of governance. And I would really want similar scrutiny, similar attention to be diverted to Madhya Pradesh government, to Gujarat government, to the new Karnataka government, and to West Bengal government as well. But we are happy with the gaze, attention and scrutiny that we got. In those days, what Delhi experienced was a genuine reduction in corruption, which ordinary, very, very ordinary people experienced. That is what was remarkable about that experience, not the things which got television footage, not the things that made headlines, but on an ordinary basis, the MCD inspectors stopped taking hafta. Police stopped taking the usual money that they used to take from the Reddy Patriwala, from the Khomchewala, from these and that. In that process, some people may have committed excesses. There is over-enthusiasm. To my mind, every big historic experiment is marked by excess of this kind. The real question is whether the Aam Aadmi Party government legitimized it, whether we said yes, what they did in DDA office, assuming that they did what you are saying, did the government say, yes, please go ahead, go on and do it, we will come to protect you. Incidentally, as you know, DDA is not under Delhi government.
Last two questions. Yes, the lady.
Yes, my question is really to Mr. Yadav. It's not so much as a question as an expression of what I feel. You said you had made your stand on several issues you had made your stand as the AAP party on several issues, and a lot of points, you know, we haven't paid much attention to a lot of the issues that you have made a point on. But I must say that I was extremely dismayed and appalled at the lack of condemnation of the Khap Panchayats in Haryana, especially by a party knowing how much cruelty is inflicted on women by these Khap Panchayats and on individual liberty, by a party that came to power with Nirbhaya as one of its main issues.
Thank you for this feedback. You know, we've had since I was one of the persons involved in making the statements that were attributed, you know the funny thing, the press, I was asked questions during press conference, I responded. The same statement was reported in two different ways. In Haryana Hindi press, it was reported as Yogendra Yadav condemns Khap. On that basis, Khap Panchayat leaders have issued threats to me and have said, let this party come for election, we will settle scores with them. The very same statement was reported in Delhi English press as Yogendra Yadav supporting Khap. What was that statement? Let me simply reiterate verbatim what I said. I had said that in this country, every caste and community has its social organizations, as long as they do dispute resolution through consensus, there is nothing wrong with it. But the moment it becomes coercion, the moment any law of this land is violated, and worse of all, if any murder is condoned by calling it honor killing or something, this is completely unacceptable in this country. A murder is a murder is a murder. This is exactly verbatim what I had said. Tell me, what's wrong with this?
Hello.
Yeah,
I'd like to ask a question.
Just a minute. No. There's this elderly gentleman wanting to ask a question for a very long time. Can you have the
Sir, I'm
mic,
standing
please?
behind. I'd also like to ask a question.
Sorry?
After that.
How many more questions?
Here, I'm here.
There is some lady there.
Sorry?
Can I please? I have a small question for Mr. Salman.
After him, please.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Give him a mic.
I have a mic. Can I answer?
Can I take the opportunity to ask the question? Would that save time?
No, just a minute.
Thank you.
My question is to Mr. Salman. I am basing this question on a recent interview which went viral. Why is the face of youth politics so unsure on national television? What sort of a message is it sending to the youth of our country? He's not able to answer basic questions.
Otherwise, you're talking about the
Rahul Gandhi.
Times Now. Listen,
Absolutely.
this was the first interview. I think that there are more interviews coming. He's interacting with people personally, up front, including amongst young people. His emphasis, in fact, is heavily on young people.
Sir, I'm a big fan of the ad campaigns. They are great.
Yeah.
They're absolutely flattering. They're extremely moving. But when I saw a youth politician, I must say he was one of the few influential youth politicians, why was he so unsure on national television?
Well, I think when you're out for the first time, sometimes you are probably judging carefully what you want to say. There are many more interviews that are going to come, and frankly, what you should do is that if you feel this way, what you should do is just send an email to him and say that this is how I feel, and this is what I said at a gathering. He will want to respond to you. I think it's important that he responds to you. This is a learning process. He's growing, he's reaching out, and I think people like you should say whatever you want to say to him.
Thanks.
I think
Actually, the question. No, just a minute, please. Don't. I want that gentleman.
No, I don't understand. I don't understand. You don't want to reach out to him and say what you want to say?
Please, no.
You should. You should.
I think Salman has assured all of us next time he won't be that careful.
Please.
No.
Carry on.
Please, if you feel strongly about anybody, you must reach out to that person and say, this is how we feel. How else are we going to get through in a democracy? Anyway, if you have a problem, there, please get in touch with me. I mean, I hope I did a little better job tonight. So
Mr.
please get in touch with me. I will answer to you.
Mr. Khurshid, I think what they want to know is beyond that Montessori level interview. The Montessori interview that he gave. Has he learnt anything since?
Please allow the audience.
The Montessori interview.
See, I listen. The point is, you've just quietly listened to Mr.
I was kindergarten.
Salman,
Mr. Khurshid, please.
Listen to me.
Let him ask the question. He's been trying for a very long
My name is Dr. Somit Dasgupta. I am one of the very senior members of this Taliganj Club.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this debate, Salman has said, please vote us for all the three established parties. BJP, CPM, Congress.
Yeah.
So they're in favor of the motion. Now, all three of you had been in the governance for last 66 years. Today, why people want a change? People are all talking about corruption. You are also talking about corruption. But you are unable to pass any corruption bill and also many other good bills. Why? Because you have tainted MPs in your parliament. They will never allow you to pass women bill or any other bill.
Sir, your question.
So in future, we are going to see the background of your candidates, not the party.
Well, that's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
Now, all these over here in this Taliganj Club members, all over here, many of them are very good managerial, retired persons.
Thanks.
But they are not in the parliament or assembly. Why? Because they are not your member of your parties and they do not believe in black money and massive power or any other power.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Today, I congratulate...
Sir, you must keep it short.
I congratulate Arvind Kejriwal and his colleagues. They have found what is the source of corruption.
Yeah.
They are looking for people, technocrats, bureaucrats, who have clean image.
Thank you.
So my first question is...
Please don't make it a speech.
No, have you identified the source of corruption?
You're a senior member of this club. Don't abuse the platform.
No, I'm
don't
not
make it a
abusing
speech. Make it a...
The simple is, you must identify what is the source of corruption and try to remove that source of corruption.
Thanks.
Number two, he has spoken about Mahatma Gandhi's Dandi March. Mahatma Gandhi made Dandi March why? He said, natural resource we have a right to use. Salt, saline water is our resource. There cannot be any tax on that. Today, why you have to pay tax on petrol, gas and coal, etc., which are natural resources? We have full right to use natural resources. We will pay the cost of production, but not tax. I like to know from Aam Aadmi leader Jogen, you have mentioned 50% subsidy of the power. Don't say that. Market power can be manipulated. You say you have to pay the cost of fuel only and nothing else. In that case, it will be 1.25 naira per kilowatt. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Now, we'll bring this question and answer session to an end.
Sir, with due
please, Mr. Prasad, we'll bring it to an end. We must come to the climax of the debate.
No, but
which side is
you
won?
clubbed all of us together with greatest respect to you, seniority. That is not fair. There are people who are voting BJP with 2/3, 3/4 majority. There are also people of India in free and fair election who are governing well. There is scope for improvement. I agree with you. And let new people come on block. But all of us are like Congress. I'm sorry. That will not be a fair comment to make.
Okay.
No, better. I have one question for Dr.
When I rise,
Salman.
please others will keep
Salman
quiet.
Khurshid, may I?
Now we move. Sir.
I have one question.
Sir, see, there are several people who are wanting to
Sir,
ask
questions. My question is
and
from
there's a
Mr.
time
Ravi Shankar
constraint.
Prasad.
There is a time constraint. The minister has to go to Myanmar tonight. There are other compulsions. All senior people, you'll understand. We come now to the climax of this debate. Can you hear me? I'm sure you can. Yeah. Which side has won? Who has carried the argument tonight? Those speaking in favor of the motion, those against. Raise of hands, those who think that...
Clarify who's against, who's for. People may have forgotten. What is the motion?
Okay, those who think the debate has been won to the team on my left, please raise your hand.
No, he's saying, repeat the question.
They are not able
to... Those who think the team on my right has won the debate. I think it's as simple as that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Yadav.
Thank you, Kolkata. Thank you.
Aruna
Thank you very
ji.
much.
And thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Ravi Shankar ji, Mr. Yechuri, Mr.
This election at least.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Khurshid for
and thanks to the
scintillating debate tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Now, may I ask the president of the Tollygunge Club to give a vote of thanks.